Hello everybody and welcome to Bison Central video preview of NDSU Iowa State. I'm Daniel Gunderson alongside Mike McFeely. Bison football kicks off this Saturday, 11 a.m. Mike's going to be down in Ames. Obviously we're recording this a little bit early, but that's okay because
it's Thursday.
We're going to give you an opportunity to get boned up on your Iowa State NDSU information. Mike, I guess the first question I'll have for you is, do you view it as I do? This is going to be NDSU's defense versus Iowa State's offense.
Well, no, I think NDSU's defense is. I'm not going to say it's a set deal. I think it's the stronger part of their team, without question. To go down a Craig Bowl cliche road, without question, it's an entrenched defense. I think the question for fans is how NDSU's offense is going to match up against Iowa State's defense. North Dakota State's offense has a new offensive line, new quarterback, new coaching staff, as the defense does as well. But to me, I think you can count more on NDSU's defense in this game, even with the questions on the defensive line, than you can about the offense. And so I think we'll see how it matches up against Iowa State's defense.
Iowa State's offense contains one of the better tight ends in the Big 12, E.J. Bibbs. He's a big guy, 6'3", 266. How do you think he'll affect the linebackers for NDSU? Their best part of their defense, or at least one.
We don't know. We don't know how they're going to use him, right? I mean,
right. Well, yeah.
The new offensive coordinator for Iowa State is Mark Mangino, and his history is to run the big spread. You know, all the stuff that's all over college football now, which makes me puke.
Except in Fargo.
Except in Fargo, we run the football in Fargo.
Bison football.
Bison football. But Mangino, we don't know how they're going to use him. You know,
right.
If you had the same offensive coordinator from a year ago, you could probably say, well, they're going to do this, this, and this. Chris Kleiman, the head coach at NDSU, believes that they're probably going to spread out Bibbs more into almost a wide receiver type position and do more things downfield with him. Then they will use him as a blocking tight end. And I talked to Colton Hegel on Tuesday as well, and he kind of thought the same thing, that they're going to use him more as a receiver than as a blocker. Historically, tight ends block. They come off the line, they catch a 5-yard pass, they do things like that. But this guy's more of just a very athletic 6'6" huge guy who can get downfield.
And that's scary to consider. Someone that big will be manned up against guys who are more fit to guard wide receivers. You know, your nickel backs, and if he's fast enough to get past a linebacker, he's just going to create a lot of matchup problems for NDSU defensively. Offensively, I guess the question for me now is Carson Wentz coming in, and we've talked about him forever and a day, but here we go. Finally, we get a chance to see him. Do you think it's very important for him to come out and not set the world on fire, but make good choices and not allow? I mean, it's important for anybody, but especially for him, since it's his first game starting.
The old story is you got to manage the game, right? I mean, Brock Jensen he got an NFL tryout. We all know that, but he was not the guy who could sling it around the field. He had a good arm. I mean, had a better arm than a lot of guys, but his thing was managing the game because NDSU established the run. They hit downfield when they could, when they had to, which turned out to be quite often with Ryan Smith and Zach Vraw and those guys.
Right.
But if NDSU can establish the run, if they can get John Crockett going, if the offensive line can grow really quickly here, in the first game against Iowa State at a Big 12 stadium, then Carson Wentz, they can give the ball to John Crockett 22 times, or however they're going to split the carries. We still don't know that yet either.
Yeah.
Although Kleiman has said that Crockett's going to get the gist of the carries, and then Carson can just kind of do what he does. But I think that he's going to go into this first game at a Big 12 stadium on national TV, his first game taking over this monster FCS program, and to think he's not going to be nervous, that he's not going to have a couple hiccups in the road, I think is kind of foolish. I think it's just natural for somebody, even though he's a junior, he's been around for 3 years now, it's a whole new experience, and it's a big deal for a 21-year-old kid to go into that situation. So it's part of what's making Bison football fun this year. The fun the last couple of years following it and covering it has been that you knew that they were just damn good. I mean, you just knew that they were good and that they're going to be competing for a national championship. They still might do that, but it's kind of fun to see the question marks and kind of find out how things turn out. That's kind of what the excitement is about for me for Saturday's game.
It gives us an opportunity to talk about stuff, at least kind of discuss it in a sense that we don't know what's going to happen. Like you said with last year, well, it's going to be Ojuri up the middle, Crockett to the right, Jensen to Vraw, touchdown Bison. That's kind of what it was going to be all day. Now the question marks arise. To me, if Wentz comes out, just like you said, composure, does the nice things, manages the game, makes sure he doesn't make the big mistakes, and allow for momentum to roll for Iowa State, NDSU will be just fine. We're in the
and it's a similar story. Excuse me, Pinto, but
yeah, go ahead.
I mean, why NDSU's offense? One of the many reasons why it was so successful the last few years is because as Coach Kleiman pointed out in his Monday press conference, they often found themselves in 2nd and 4, or 2nd and 3, or 3rd and 1, and they weren't in a lot of 2nd and 11, 3rd and 7 positions. And if NDSU finds itself on Saturday morning and early Saturday afternoon, 2nd and 8, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 6, it's going to be a long day for Carson Wentz. If they can get, O'Jury would go for 6 on first down. O'Jury would go for 3 on second down.
Right.
Jensen would sneak for 3 on third down, and they'd move the chains again. If they can continue to do that with Carson, they'll be fine. They'll possess the ball for a long period of time, and then everything will be just fine. I'm not saying NDSU's going to win the game. They might still lose it if they do that, but they'll be competitive if they can do that. If they're going 3 and out and not possessing the football, any football team, whether you're a 3-time national champion or not, you're going to have trouble if you don't hold on to the football.
I would say this to finish that thought, that when it gets to those situations early in the game, I would expect NDSU to do a lot of mass protect, meaning they're going to leave a lot of guys back to block, maybe run a couple routes, and expect Wentz to go, okay, if it's not there, I can dump it down, or I can try and run, or I can just throw it away and we'll play for another day. Because you have Ben LeCompte, who we probably don't talk about enough as a punter, but one of the best assets you have, and then your defense as well. So we'll see how, again, managing the game is what you expect.
What if they end up? What if they're down 6 with 6 minutes to go and Bison take over on their own 20-yard line?
Okay, then you have to drive.
Well, I know. Then you'll see how big Carson Wentz is.
Metaphorically speaing, if you will.
Yes, metaphorically speaking, we'll see how big Carson Wentz is. That would be incredibly interesting to see that. And do we have any reason at all to doubt that NDSU is going to be a good football team this year? No. Why would you doubt that?
No.
But just a matter of how good they're going to be by the end of the year.
Good measuring stick is Iowa State to start things out. Let's do this quick. Predictions. I know that you kind of like to hold back on this, but how do you feel, Mike, that this one's going to play out?
It's a tough one.
It is.
I've thought about. I'll do this. And NDSU fans hate it when I pick NDSU. They hate it when I pick NDSU. So I'll pick NDSU 21-20. I think it's going to be a close game. I think NDSU sneaks it out in the end. It's going to surprise a lot of people if NDSU wins the game, because a lot of folks are thinking, they're done. They've had their run.
Right.
They're still a good FCS football team. Not as good as they've been in the past 3 years. Let's keep saying that. But I think they pull this one out on Saturday.
I don't think they do. I think Iowa State has enough to beat them.
Why do you hate NDSU?
Of course.
Why do you hate the Bison?
I think Iowa State is going to be able to sneak one out against NDSU. And you have to remember that last year they played Northern Iowa and lost. So this isn't going to sneak up on them as, it's just another FCS school that we can just disregard. They understand not only how good NDSU is, but how good the Missouri Valley is as an FCS conference. To me,
do they?
I really believe they do.
No way. I'm a big believer of all these schools, no matter how much the coaches get up and say, we really take these guys seriously. I still believe that guys in Big 12 or Big 10 programs look at North Dakota State and go, North Dakota State, so what?
To me, I don't see that way.
Coaches can praise it all they want. The players are players. They're 18 years old. They're 21 years old. They're going, North Dakota State. Yeah, what time's the beer keg start?
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. I truly believe, though, that this game is going to be different, because this is a team that's won 3 national titles in a row. They saw what they did against Kansas State in Manhattan. To me, I think Iowa State's going to be ready. I'm going to throw out a score. Really, it's arbitrary. I'm going to say 17-14. Let's make it low scoring. I think that NDSU's offense is going to have trouble. NDSU's defense is going to hold pat.
Daniel.Gunderson@mwcradio.com.
Or you can,
the Bison and Rubes can send them.
Or you can follow me at Pinto KFGO if you so want to on Twitter, and send me hate tweets.
# you suck.
Yep.
# you suck.
That works. So for McFeely, I'm Daniel Gunderson, Bison Central Video Preview, Iowa State NDSU. We'll see you next week.